stop and reset. So, welcome to Tuesday Talk with Bim Group. As always, I'm your host, Deanna Sizemore. We meet here every other Tuesday at 2 p.m. For 15-20 minutes to talk about what's going on in the world of compliance or any pressing issues and employee benefits that you guys have questions on. So it's open forum. I really just kind of come up with a few things to talk about that's I've seen in the news in the past week or two, or a regulation that's been passed, or something along those lines, and then take any questions that you all have. And my apologies, I cannot seem to speak clearly today. So a couple of things I want to talk about first, just to kind of get them out of the way, just short and brief, is the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021, which was actually passed in 2020, gives a couple of options for flexible spending account, healthcare, and dependent care plans. There is the normal rule that an FSA can have a carryover of up to $500, or you can have a grace period up to 2.5 months. The last Tuesday talk, we talked about how the new rule, I think it was the last Tuesday or maybe the one before, the new option, not rule, but the new option is an employer can choose to extend the grace period for up to 12 months, or they can continue with the carryover amount, but it has no limit. And we've got a couple of questions on those about, well, is it last year's money? Is it this year's money? What are the options? What does that look like? So just to clarify, if a group in 2020 had a flexible spending account with a $500 carryover that would carry over into 2021, and in 2021 they decided to extend that provision under the new rule and say, we're going to let you carry over, but there's no cap on it. That carryover amount has no cap for the 2021 plan year. In the 2021 year, when it ends and we get to 2022, the new rule also gives the option to extend that carryover again with no cap for the rest of that 2022 year. That's one side of it. So it's either you're carrying things forward. If you choose the option of extending the grace period, so a plan in 2020 that has a 2.5 month grace period into 2021, that grace period is to file for expenses incurred in 2020. What the new rule does is it gives you the option to extend that grace period for 12 months. So you would theoretically have until December 31st of 2021 to submit any expenses incurred by 12/31 of 2020. And then you can also carry that forward for the next year. So any expenses in 2021 could be submitted anytime in 2022 for reimbursement if you extend that grace period. So we're either using money going forward or we're using money going back. So there's been a little confusion on that, and I just wanted to address that. If there's any specific questions on it or specific to your plan, feel free to ask. If you don't feel comfortable asking here, you can email me or call me. I think everybody knows how to get a hold of me. If not, it's Deanna, DEANNA at bimgroup.us. And you can call the main BIM number, and my extension is 123. So that's super easy to remember. I don't know how I got that extension, how lucky I got. So that was the clarification on the new FSA extension that you can adopt. You don't have to adopt it, but you can. If you are looking at adopting that, you do need to work with your FSA provider to ensure that they set that up correctly and you get corrected plan documents, all that kind of stuff. If you work with BIM on your FSA plans, we can definitely facilitate that with you with the FSA vendor, whomever that may be. So, in the same thought process of that 5500 of the FSA plan, is a premium only plan document. I want to talk about that at the end, but I just wanted to put this out here if you've got to run. The majority of the talk is going to be about why you need a premium only plan document. So we're going to get there. But in the interim, while this is not directly benefits related, it's more HR related, but I felt like it was important to share with everyone because I'm afraid it would be missed. The DOL recently issued guidance from the Wage and Hour Division on how to handle employment and labor law notices for remote employees. Again, more HR, not so much benefits, not really our wheelhouse, but a compliance matter nonetheless. And I know for Bim Group, we're all working remotely. So typically you see those employment and labor law posters in the break room or a lobby or a kitchen where people frequently gather or frequently pass through. If you've got employees working remote, they don't have access to those locations. So you're theoretically not meeting the requirement of the employment and labor law posters. What the DOL has come up with, they issued regulations only for departments under their umbrella. So OSHA, federal, I think it's the federal employees type piece. It does not include EEOC. It does not include ADA. But basically what the DOL has said is an employer may satisfy a one-time notice requirement by email delivery if employees customarily receive emails from that employer. For the continuous posting requirements, there is a distinguishing between employees that are remote versus employees that are some employees that are remote versus all employees being remote. So if you still have employees in the office and remote, you're going to want to go ahead and post it in the office, as well as post it on an intranet or electronic portal for those working remote. If everybody is remote, then you can satisfy it by using the electronic means only if employees customarily receive information via email from you. So not quite as stringent as employee notices and, getting sign off for electronic consent. But if you've got 100% remote workforce, you can email it to everyone as long as they continually get email from you as an employer. If it's split half and half, you're still going to have to post it in the office and you can do the email delivery. Continuous posting, you want that on an intranet, you want that on a portal, but you want it easy access to, and two, you want to make sure employees know where they can go and retrieve that notice at any time. Posting it on the website and not telling anybody about it does not meet the requirement. You have to be able to make sure folks are aware of where it's at. If you just put it on your website and you don't tell anybody, it's no different than posting it in person in the back warehouse where nobody ever goes and nobody's ever going to see it. So just keep that in mind. You want to make sure it's easily accessible, easily found, and employees know where it's at. And again, this is in regards to federal labor law posters, including FLSA, FMLA, OSHA, anything that falls under that Wage and Hour Division DOL umbrella is going to go there. Like I said, it does not include EEOC or the National Labor Relations Board. That was the other one I was thinking about. So one of the comments that recommendations that they made is, design an easily accessible space on your company intranet or employee portal for federal and state posters. Consider making it appear automatically when employees turn their computers on. That is beyond my wheelhouse. I don't know how to make that happen, but maybe your IT people do. Use your employee handbook or handbook acknowledgement page to inform employees of the virtual location of postings. And incorporate all required notices in your applicant portal and applicant tracking system if your hiring is done remotely. And there's a link that they give you for a first step poster advisor. And I'm going to post that link at the end of the Tuesday Talk video when we post it on the Bim Group website. But it is https://webapps.dol.gov/elaws/posters.htm. I'm actually going to put it in the chat here in a few minutes just so you can have that, but it will be posted on our webpage as well when the recording is posted. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about premium only plans and why I'm doing that. Any questions on what we just talked about? Any questions on the notices, or maybe your notices for the employee notices where you have to post your HIPAA, GINA, COBRA, FMLA, all those. Any questions along those lines? And I'll get this pulled up real quick. Okay, well, let me stick this web address in the chat just so you've got it. And Elise, I know that you're watching. If you would not mind grabbing this to put on our web page once the Tuesday Talk video goes live. I'm having trouble getting my words out again. It's because I can't do two things at one time. I've lost all ability to multitask. So it is webapps.dol.gov/e-laws/posters HTM. That should get us there. So premium only plans. We don't talk about those a lot. They tend to get lost. They, oh, that was not the right web address. I messed it up somewhere along the way. They are not necessarily thought about in terms of being that important because they are they've never really used. And the premium only plan, if you don't have a flexible spending account or healthcare dependent account, the premium only plan really just says we take pre-tax payroll deductions. This is how we do it. And it tells us when people can come on and off the plan. So we get a lot of questions that says, so-and-so had a baby, or so-and-so got married, or so-and-so doesn't want the coverage anymore. Can they drop the plan? The first thing we're going to do is look at your Section 125 plan document or your premium only plan document. So here we go with the many names of different things. A premium only plan document, I've heard it called a POP document, short for premium only plan, cafeteria plan, Section 125 plan, which is the IRS rules. And it can also be incorporated in your flexible spending account or healthcare dependent account documents. I'll get that out in a second. So with that, if someone is wanting to make a plan change, that POP plan document, that POP plan document is where we're going to go and look to see, is it an eligible change or not? This is also where a lot of the COVID amendments that came through under the FFCRA Act, that would be where you allow people who have formerly declined coverage to now enroll in coverage at any time, or you've extended an open enrollment period, or you've you've added an ACA provision to allow people to come on the plan outside of ACA open enrollment, whatever that may be. So those documents tend to be neglected. Some groups don't have them, even though we always bring those up in our compliance audits. You really should look at those on an annual basis, one, to make sure that they are in line with any new rules or regulations that have come out, again, such as the COVID situation, any legislative updates. There's penalties if it's not supplied to employees upon request, or if you were to be audited by the DOL and they say, oh, well, where's your Section 125 plan document? You don't have it. It goes hand in hand with your ERISA SPD and plan document, or ERISA WRAP plan SPD and plan document. And it's really important that that POP plan document stays as updated as your ERISA plan documents do. You can put your ERISA plan document and your POP plan document into one. So we've talked about in the past a WRAP plan document. And for those who may not be aware of what that is, so every health plan, health, medical, dental, life, vision, sponsored by a group that it covers 2 or more employees, has to have a written plan document and a written summary plan description, or SPD. That is not the carrier certificate booklet or the carrier contract that you get. There's a required ERISA language in that WRAP document that the insurance carrier documents do not contain. So one of the very first things we do in a compliance audit is do you have an ERISA wrap plan document or an ERISA plan document for each plan? A wrap plan document just puts all of your plans under one umbrella. So you could have an ERISA plan document for each plan. One for your health, one for your dental, one for your vision, one for your life, one for your disability. Or you could have a wrap plan document where all of those plans are under one. Most of the time, the Section 125 plan document is separate, but you can include it. One of the reasons it's separate is it's usually, if a group has an FSA, dependent care healthcare account, it's tied into that, and that's a separate piece than your medical, dental, vision, life, disability. But it can be incorporated if you choose to. So you want to make sure that not only is your POP plan up to date, but your ERISA plan's up to date. And we should look at those on an annual basis. In the past, I know we've looked at them probably every 3 to 5 years, because if you make a plan change, you can usually do an amendment, a summary material modifications or summary material reduction. And then every 5 years, if you've had amendments incorporated into a revised, amended, restated document. What I really want to do this year is get our groups on a schedule to where every year post-renewal, maybe 60 days post-renewal, we take a look at the POP plan document, the ERISA plan document, your notices, everything that's required under the DOL umbrella. One, it's up to date and current, and two, that you have a copy of it that's quickly accessible and a plan to distribute that to employees. So, in a nutshell, I don't want POP plan documents to be overlooked or forgotten, because they are important. And they should be kept up to date, and they should be reviewed on a regular basis. And not to use a scare tactic, but when it comes to compliance documents, an employer can receive a penalty of up to $110 per day per participant per plan if an SPD is not distributed within 30 days of being requested, or if the DOL requests it and it cannot be provided to them within 30 days, $159 per day penalty. Failure to provide a summary of benefits and coverage, which is our lovely 8 to 10 page document from the carriers, that is a max penalty of $1,176 per participant. There's also other fines related to not distributing the GINA notice and the HIPAA notice and all the other notices that come in that packet that we give you every year. So that's why we do that packet, is to make sure that you've got everything you need to stay on top of anything the DOL requires. And if it's not in that notice packet, we give you an instruction sheet that tells you what's not in there. And it's usually notices that we can't do at a high level. It's going to be more specific to your plan. It might be an FMLA policy. Well, we're not going to have that. You would have that. So there's just some things to think about when we talk about plan documents, and kind of start with the POP plan document and talk about the ERISA plan document, and then kind of go down from there to make sure you've got everything. So with that, I'm going to be quiet for a minute and see if anybody has any questions, because we're right at 20 minutes. I'm going to check this web apps link, because after I entered it and checked it, it does not work. So while I'm doing that, I will wait for just a moment for some questions, and hopefully we'll get some questions. If not, that's okay too. So hope everybody's doing well and surviving COVID. So let's see, let me try to pull this up. Labor poster. Just looking to see if we've got any questions. Let's see. I am not. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got it. Yay. So I am gonna delete this post that is not good and put the correct one on here. Hey Carol, how are you? Carol Brewer from our office. We have Carol Caskey and Carol Brewer on here. So, all right, so that should be the right link. I don't know if Elisa, if you can see that. Yeah. So that takes us to the Department of Labor posters and record keeping advisors. So hopefully that'll be good. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything else and you missed the presentation, please go back and watch. And you can always email me questions. You can drop them in the chat here. I should see them, or you can email me or call me, as I said earlier. So hope everyone is staying warm. And I hear the groundhog saw his shadow. So for those of us who don't like winter, we've got 6 more weeks of fun to come. So hope everybody's doing well, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day.